Well, hello YouTube. It's been a while. Zasavarian here. It's actually been 4 years and change since last time I was on here, and I wanted to do this review. I purchased this. This is the Generation 4 Glock 26. I wanted to do a review. There's another channel that I primarily use on YouTube, and I had stumbled upon this, and lo and behold, it's still here. So I wanted to keep this to my gun and tactical channel on here, and I wanted to do a review on the Glock 26 Gen 4. I try and do my reviews a little bit more in depth than the average. I say that now, and hopefully that'll remain true to everything. I'm really more of an engineer at heart, so it's I try and get a little bit deeper in depth than I think most people would. Not all, though. There's definitely some really good and very thorough reviews out there, but I wanted to give you my perspective on the gun. And there is a reason that I bought this gun. This is also my first Glock, and I could not be happier with it. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to go through it a little. So before I pick it up and start going into some serious detail here, I wanted to go through, and I wanted to talk about a little bit why I went with the Glock 26. Also why I went with the Gen 4, and why I did not go with some of its counterparts. I had some people, a friend of mine and colleague is a huge fan of HK, and he wanted me to, he recommended that I go with an HK. I did not. I went with this, and here's why. Now, I've been hearing for years that the bottom line with the Glock is it's very reliable and it goes bang every time you pull the trigger. And there may be some of you out there that may have some mixed reviews on that, but for the most part, there's a reason that reputation precedes them, and that's what I wanted to touch up on. Now, I've realized, and this is what attracted me to the gun, I wanted something basic, something straight to the point. Nothing fancy around it. I wanted something that, just worked, simple, and like I said, goes bang every time. And that's why I got it. Now, I'm going to get a little bit more in depth with the gun here. First of all, I have, as you probably can't tell too much from the video, but you'll probably tell when I go to pick it up. If you've ever seen a Glock 26 in person, I have very small hands. And again, the reason I went with the 26 is I wanted a double stack mag, and I also went with the Gen 4 because I really liked the grip, and I liked the fact that you could put the different interchangeable back straps on it, which you could not on the previous gen. So we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the gun. Everything is safe, all clear, nothing in the chamber. And there's nothing on the other side of that wall. All right, so talk a little bit about it. It does have the interchangeable back straps on here. It comes with 6, 3 regulars and 3 beaver tails. And I do have the beaver tail one on here because I like the way it sits in my hand a little bit better. It is not an issue when it comes to concealing that extra little edge right there. I have honestly never had any problems with, so no complaints there. I'm also not a very big guy. Let's see, I'm 5'11" on a very sunny day. It may or may not say 5'10" on my driver's license, but 5'11", I'm about 162 pounds, and at almost 29, almost 29 years old here. I'm a little bit smaller than the average. Not too thin, obviously, not too big, but it's I'm not a very big guy, and I don't have a lot of meat on my bones, especially around the hips. So for those of you out there who are concerned about carrying something as small as an LCP, which I also do carry, and that's one of my previous videos you'll see on this channel, This is something that I felt, if you look at the thickness here, would be a fair compromise. People that are smaller, and those of you who are watching who are a little bit smaller, you already know this. We feel the weight of a gun more than some of our friends in the 200-pound range do. We just feel it more. It's a little bit more annoying. And I'll talk a little bit about the holster in a sec that I went with for this. But anyway, the Glock Gen 4. Nice gun. I actually find it pretty comfortable. I did order a mag extension recently. I got the Pierce that they say is +2 or +3. I've heard it's another 3 rounds in it, but that third round seems to be so stiff that the slide can't always rack, so I'm going to count on an extra 2 rounds out of that. Should be here in a few days. But with the mag in, it's not really giving me anything extra there, so I am used to shooting this gun without really the help of my pinky. And then, of course, yes, I'm going to come around here and I'm going to wrap these around just to make it a little bit easier to shoot. And I'll try and get that in the camera right there so you can see from my perspective. Now, again, all clear. One thing that I really like about this, the extra, drop the hammer there. The extra grips on here, if you can see those here, I like the way these feel. You know, it's almost a little bit of a stippling job on here. I like the way this feels. The previous one felt a little bit too streamlined for me. I like the fact that this has a little bit, just a tiny little bit of a shallow bite into my skin here. Feels like it's not going to go anywhere. That texture really seems to help. And I don't know, you may call it confidence inspiring, but it is something that I just really do prefer. And that combined with the availability to change the back straps, that's what made the Gen 4 the best option. Now the mag release is a little bit bigger on the Gen 4. It's about that big, what I'm not covering right there on the Gen 3. On the 4, they give you a little bit more. And some people have said that their only complaint was that there isn't a whole lot of springiness. That's it right there. And I'm holding it about level right now, but there's not a lot of spring assists when pushing back on this. I guess the top bullet there is just barely pressing up inside the gun, so there's really not a lot of it. Now gravity will do its thing, no big deal, but it does feel like it kind of drops out rather than ejects out. So is that a complaint? Yes, it is. I prefer it had a little bit more of a spring release feel to that mag, but it's a tiny little complaint because there's not much that I can complain about on this gun. Now, we'll go ahead and take it down. Super easy to take down. Tiny little takedown pins right here. Obviously, for those of you who know Glock, this is nothing new to you. Comes off very easily. And then, of course, we have over here our... well, actually, here, I'll go through this in order over here. So over here, we have our recoil spring. Double recoil spring on this. Yes, this is plastic going down here. I'm not really worried about it. The only time I've heard that there's issues on these is, from what I'm told, is when you're going for something where you're discharging a lot of rounds rapidly. You know, the 18s, if you're going to be shooting, you know, something to the tune of full auto, then yes, I have heard of these breaking. This particular gun, I've put about 200 rounds through it. And again, I really don't have any complaints about how it's shot. Has never failed to fire once, and I'm running Winchesters, right the same ones you get from Walmart. What are those, 115 grain, I think? Right through it, and I've had no issues. So barrel comes out, again, pretty straightforward. Easy gun to clean, and some people say, well, you don't really need to clean a Glock butt every single blah, 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 blah. If something's cleaner, it's more reliable. I don't care how well it's made. There's nothing wrong with cleaning it. I hear so many people make so many excuses on these things, and there's really no point. You know, it's only your life here. You know, is it really gonna be that much of a pain in the ass to take the damn thing down and clean it every time you're done? No, I don't think it is. So I clean it. But anyway, very, very easy, as you can see, to take down. And there's a couple things that we'll talk about where, you know, to put the lube over here, you know, along the edges over here, you know, and some of the inner workings of these. And guys, just to let you know, I'm not a gunsmith. So the specific names of these, you got to forgive me on. I'm not going to be able to pull them off the top of my head. This is more Again, this is more of a review from someone who's, you know, starting off with this brand over here. You know, being a Glock, and you know, I am new to the names of these components. Let's say about 10, 11 years now with firearms, but you know, obviously some of my wording here is not going to be perfect, and I have made that mistake in previous videos. So anyway, goes back together, super easy, has a very clean feel to it. Now, what I will say is I do love the trigger feel on the Glock. I mean, I'll pull it back, I'll let it come back to about here. There's a click, and then here is my fire. So again, click, fire. And I'll sit here and I'll dry fire this thing, you know, for a while just to get a good feel of it. This is something that I really do like about it. It's just very, very crisp. This feel is the best way to describe it. It's very crisp. The Glock sights, we'll talk about these real quick. Do I like them? No, I don't. Most people don't. This whole little bridge thing here is kind of weird. And I've seen some people take a black marker to the bottom section here, so all you're left with is, you know, a couple, it's kind of hard to simulate on the camera, a couple little dots, I guess. But I am going to be putting tritium night sights on this. I believe in them. I think it's a good idea. And, you know, if you're concealing or if you're keeping one of these in the house, you know, as a home defense, what are the odds you're probably going to be using it when it's dark? It's probably pretty high, because if you're having a break-in, well, break-ins do happen during the day, but God forbid, if you had to defend yourself, there's a good chance you're going to be looking at this thing or looking through this at night. So it is a good idea, especially when you're dealing with the subcompact. What's the purpose of a subcompact? Exactly. Now, do I wish it had a rail? Yes, I do. I do wish it had a rail. I know it doesn't, and I know it's not going to do you much good when it's only that big, but I wish it was cut out for a lower rail over here. Maybe you do want to put a flashlight on it. I just feel like it would be nice. And yes, you know, I'll hold the flashlight like that, but I just thought it would be nice if it had that on there. It does not. But again, there's not a whole lot of shit I can talk about this firearm. It just feels really well made. Shooting. Now the recoil on this is, in my opinion, it's not too bad. It's, you know, typical 9mm recoil, but considering you have a shorter barrel here, I would expect a little bit more recoil out of the box, and that was not the case that I got with this. So I'm really quite satisfied with the amount that this has. If you compare it to a Glock 19, I'd say it's about right there with it. And I really don't have too many complaints about that. Now let's see. Holsters. I did say I would mention the holsters. The one that I use for this is the Alien Gear holster for this. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go bring it onto the camera. It's right over here. All right, sorry about that. And here it is. So, Alien Gear. It's kind of cool. It's got the little green spacers over here, essentially just little green O-rings. This is what I use because, again, I have a small frame. This thing is great. I love it. Several different layers over here. Very, very comfortable here, and it's got all kinds of different adjustments, as you can see. Malleable on the inside, hard on the outside, and then the length here to here is adjustable. You can put in for a longer one if you want with Alien Gear, but I am happy with this. No, I am not getting endorsed by talking about this holster, but I just wanted to talk about it. Fits in here snug. Just like that. And this here, I can put on at about 5:30 on my head, and I really don't have many issues. And if you do want to see how far this protrudes out, and I'll throw the mag in there real quick just to show you. With the factory mag, this would be your profile, I guess you could call it, the profile of the gun as you're wearing it. Great gun for concealed carrying here. And I'll tell you, I do drive a sports car, the bucket seats. You do feel a little bit of a lump, of course. You know, it's not a truck, but I can't complain about this because every once in a while when I want to take this out, I know it's there. The draw is very easy. I know it's right here. I can feel that handle. I've got a good amount of clearance here. So again, it just feels very good. It has a very natural feel to it, and retention's pretty good. It's got this a little bit of this click over here where that imprint is for around where the trigger guard goes. So anyway, alien gear holster for the Glock 26. Highly recommend it. While we're talking about this, and again, the reason I'm talking about this holster is this is really, you know, me reviewing this setup here. If it were just the gun and not the holster, if you're buying one of these, chances are you're getting it for concealed carry. Or you may be getting it for open carry. But in my case, concealed is what it was designed for. And so I felt it was good to kind of pair up my exact setup here. Anyway, great on these things too. They do come with a lifetime warranty, or they'll trade them. If you decide you want a different holster and for whatever reason you don't need this, maybe you're trading this gun, you can trade the holster too. No questions asked. It's something I like about this company. Again, they're not endorsing me for doing this, but that's how satisfied I am with them. And it's taken years to find a comfortable holster that I can put something, again, double stack gun over here. It's not feather light, but for something, for the weight of a Glock, the expected weight of a Glock, I prefer the alien gear holster. So, other than that, with the rest of the gun, there's not much more to be said with this. Simple enough to load. I like the fact that you can put any Glock mag ever, for 9mm in this, and because this is the smallest, other than the 45, other than the single stack, but any 9mm double stack, obviously, will fit perfectly into these. So at this point, since it's the shortest of the double stack guns, it's only going to get longer. So I do like that versatility just for the fact that it's a Glock. I like the fact that there's a big market for the Glock. I do not see myself getting rid of this gun. I just don't see it. I mean, I love this thing. But if I did, I know that it'd be a very quick sale. Glocks are very popular. They're known for their reliability. People stress test them and beat the crap out of them. And, you might say, well, I saw this one guy stress tested and he did X, Y, and Z and it failed. Well, here's the deal. I've seen people pack them in mud, sand, leave them in water submerged for a week, pull them out, they fire a time, and then I saw a guy that submerged the gun in all three of them and then froze it outside, brought it into the house, let it thaw for an hour after it was sitting, submerged the gun in a Tupperware container of water, sand, and mud, frozen. And then he pulls it out and he's still chipping, some pieces of ice off of this. He racks the slide once and then he discharges it and it goes bang with no problem. So some people will say that, yeah, well, there's only so many different things that, a firearm can take when it will not fire. If there has to be a limit, if you're taking a chainsaw to the thing and cutting it in half, chances are it's not going to fire anymore. So a lot of people like to get a little bit overkill, I think. And I think a lot of you will probably agree with me on that, that you've seen those videos where it's like, what could we possibly do to this gun that's going to prevent it from going off? But all in all, I'd say it is a very, very good choice. I paid $550 for it at a gun show, and no, I'm sorry, I paid there was a $30 discount on that sale. I paid $520 for it. Comes with 3 mags in the box, which I do have, but it's off camera. I'm not going to run and get it. And I've got Federal little federal hollow points here. Not much. I think they're 105, 110 grain, somewhere around there. It might even be a little bit less. But anyway, it's a good gun. And again, if you're somebody who's not very big in size, I would say this is even though it is a subcompact, and this is very important, guys, I would say that this is the biggest gun. And when I say biggest, I'm really talking weight and thickness here. It's not a very big gun, as you can see. Like I said, I don't have very small hands. Of course, my hands are slippery. And it fits pretty snug. So back to what I was saying, the biggest, thickest, I should say, and heaviest gun that you can comfortably carry, being more of a thinner built person, again, myself at 162 pounds, 5'11", I would recommend it, and then anything bigger than this is where I would stop. And some of you may agree with me and say, well, no, mine's comfortable as hell. I don't like to feel like I have a gun on me. I don't like to feel it on me. I know it's there, and you get the friendly reminder when it's brushing up against your backside, but I don't like to feel like it's weighing me down. And a smaller person is going to feel that way, which means it's less comfortable. And of course, if it's less comfortable, you're less likely to carry it. Therefore, the purpose is defeated. So that is my review. Positive review. Everything, if I had to give it 0 to 5 stars, no rail here. And that slightly weak mag release, the fact that, you're mostly relying on gravity there, or I should say you are relying on gravity there to drop the mag out of the gun, that I'd say drops at half a point for me. I'm going to give it a 4.5 stars. Everything else fine, easy to shoot, fun to shoot, reliable, it's there, it's a Glock. So anyway, I hope that was informative for you guys. I hope that was something that you guys liked, and you got enough information out of that. If you want any more information, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to do a second review, or if you want anything more in depth. Again, I would be happy to let you guys know. So anyway, appreciate you guys watching this video. Thanks again. Go ahead and subscribe if you want. That way I'll know that you guys do want to see more of these videos, and I'll know more of what it is you want to see in them with what I've got. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you guys have a great day.